When it's cold outside, it's time to stay in and listen to some records. That's the time I like to call Baggy Hi-Fi time. Greetings, cats and kittens. Welcome once again to Baggy Hi-Fi, this YouTube channel devoted to record collecting and the vinyl community here in the UK. It's been a while since I made my last video, so this video will be a catch-up video showing not everything I've acquired over the last month and a half, but quite a few interesting items which have come into Baggy Hi-Fi headquarters. Mixture of garage, and some proggy items in the middle, and then a newish band towards the end. I will be featuring the usual needle drops, and by strange coincidence, two of the songs I'm going to be doing the needle drops of have the same title of the song called She, but different songs, different bands. So let's go into it all. First record I'm going to show is the only 45 I'm going to show, but this is by a contemporary garage band, British band called the Baron 4, and this is the first of the songs called She. This has been issued on the excellent French label Disque Rogue, which apes the 60s pick sleeves that you used to get, and even the label apes the design of the 60s label Disque Rouge, which I have a few releases on. So this band, the Baron 4, feature on drums Mole Lambert, who was the singer in a record I showed in my last video, singer in the band the M Brooks. Now Mole Lambert, he of the moustache and groovy 60s outfits, plays in many contemporary garage bands, and he's also runs the State Records label, which releases a lot of very good new garage revival bands. Now this next record is by a classic garage band of the 60s. It's a reissue, latest reissue, I think it's been reissued a few times, of the first album by the Seeds from 1966. This is the double deluxe version, which has fairly recently come out. Lots of information about this band. They did have a huge hit, which has been compiled many times, Pushing Too Hard, of course. So the first record in this double set is their first album. Is it their best album? Possibly, maybe Web of Sound. The next one is just as good. And the second record contains earlier versions of those songs and a really, really long version, 16-minute version of Evil Hoodoo, which really does get into a repetitive groove. There's a very nice booklet with it as well, so it's well worth getting this, I would say, even if you have a copy of the original album or another reissue. Lots of nice information, and even sketches for the artwork of the design of the cover, which is really nice. The cover I always like that. So there you are, the Seeds, first album, reissued, deluxe version. Another 60s album which I bought recently, which I do have a copy of in a double pack with a quick one. This is by The Who, of course, The Who Sellout. Possibly my favourite Who album. It's certainly the album where Pete Townsend really indulged his art school influence and pop art influence, especially with that sleeve and the idea of the commercials in between songs. But fantastic album. This is Half Speed Mastering Abbey Road Studios issue, and I'm no audiophile, but does it sound better than other albums I have which are not half speed mastered? Well, it does really have a real presence. When I first put it on, it does seem to fill the room, and it has a real depth to it, I would say. So and it contains probably one of my favourite songs, and I often like the songs that Pete Townsend sings on more than Roger Daltrey. It has, apart from I Can See for Miles, it also has I Can't Reach You, which is just a wonderful Townsend tune. So that's the Who Sell Out half-speed mastered version. Some more 60s. Now this is, I was recently given some Rolling Stones albums, kindly. Don't really have many Rolling Stones albums. I love their 60s singles. Not that keen on the 70s output, and after that I sort of lost interest. But this is the second album by the Rolling Stones, number 2. Don't they look cool in that Jared Mankiewicz photo on the front? So this is you know, early raw R&B Rolling Stones. Didn't really grab me that much. I need to play it again. I think probably the only really well-known tune on here is, which is not so much of a bluesy tune, is Time Is On My Side. But I'll show you maybe some of the video, some of the other Stones albums that were given to me in a really nice batch of records. Often when people find out that you like collecting records, they're willing to give you some records, and often they're really not great, but this is a nice batch and all in really brilliant condition, so thank you to the person who gave me that. I'll give it another spin. And then this is not 60s, but this is still in the sort of R&B mold, and I saw this in a record shop recently. Looked a bit battered, £7. Took the risk, thinking it would play really well, which it does. Dr. Feelgood, Canvey Island's finest. This is their second album, Malpractice. Love that cover on here. So Back in the Night is on this one. Wilco Johnson still playing with them at this stage. Unique style, brilliant. Really enjoyed this, been playing this quite a bit. So 70s R&B, rhythm and blues, Dr. Feelgood. Delving into proggier waters now. This is a record which I've only played once since I found it. I think I only got this for a £5. That's a 80s or maybe 1982 Peter Hammill album, Enter K. Now by this stage Peter Hammill had dropped his subject matter having sort of any sci-fi connections, which you do get in the Van der Graaf Generator albums. But the funny thing about Peter Hammill's solo albums, at least at this stage, is that all the band playing on it tended to be members of Van der Graaf Generator. Anyway, now, so more personal territory here, quite gloomy. But I'll say I played this once and it is very, very good. I wasn't really expecting too much for some reason, but yeah, it's very good. The Unconscious Life, Happy Hour, of course. Being Peter Hammill, you know it's not going to be a happy tune. But so that's Enter K. It's on the Naive label. I think he wasn't on Charisma by this stage. And I think it was recorded at his home studio as well. Yeah, recorded at Sofa Sound, which I think was just his home studio. Next, and I daren't do a needle drop of this because Robert Fripp's henchmen would come round and arrest me. This is King Crimson, the latest variant of reissues coming from Panegyric label. This is a double version of Red, the masterly 1974, well, recorded in 1974, maybe released in 1975 album. So this is double of that, probably the finest lineup of King Crimson. At this point, 3-piece, John Wetton, Bill Bruford, Robert Fripp, but with the additions of David Cross on violin, Mel Collins, Ian MacDonald, Robin Miller and Mark Charrick. So Fripp bringing in some British jazzers on this. I think a lot of you will know this. The very loud and heavy pulverizing riffs. Now, this album, this double consists of remixes, which have been approved by Robert Fripp. Really interesting to listen to if you're already very familiar with this record, like I think I am. So, you know, it brings out some of the Fripp guitar lines that are a little bit more buried on the original. What's really interesting is that side D has just a percussion track of Starless, which is really interesting to listen to, and also there is, where is it? It just has the brass, the oboe, the cornet and saxophone pieces, just as a track in itself. So pretty different listening experience of this amazing peak album by King Crimson. This is Red, double version released just towards the end of last year. Now continuing my Hawkwind catching up collection. This is Hawkwind Live 79. Does it say where it's recorded? It just says recorded live during the UK Winter Tour 1979. By this time, Hugh Lloyd Langton is on guitar, so a little bit of a clearer sound compared to the sludgy space rock sound that we all know and love from the 70s. Tracks on this: Spirit of the Age, Motorway City, the fantastic song Motorway City, and then Master of the Universe, and then towards the end of side 2, Silver Machine, not a reprise, but Silver Machine Requiem, because I guess they must have been sick of playing it by this stage and people shouting for it. And you often meet people who, if you mention Hawkwind to them, they just say, oh yeah, Silver Machine. Of course, they have a long recording career. So just towards the beginning of them playing Silver Machine, I think people are shouting for it, and Dave Brock shouts, yeah, I've got a washing machine. So, but they do play it, and it's a sort of different version of it, and there's an explosion at the end as it is obliterated in a nuclear explosion. Next Hawkwind album which I've caught up with is Levitation. Now, if you believe that you are just a fan of the 70s era of Hawkwind and you're a little bit cautious about listening to 80s Hawkwind, well, this is from 1980, maybe released in 81. Very strong album. Again, Hugh Lloyd Langton is on here, and Ginger Baker on drums. Been playing this one a lot as well because it has some great songs, especially side one is brilliant. Levitation, Motorway City, both Dave Brock songs, and some interesting instrumentals on here as well. So would recommend this one, Levitation, Hawkwind from 1980, or recorded in 1980. Staying in the 80s, but Australian release, Hoodoo Gurus. Now, in the 80s, I was sort of aware of the name of this band. I knew there were, I enjoyed quite a lot of Australian bands at the time, and there certainly were a great crop of Australian bands, like The Church and more heavier sort of garage influenced bands. This is Mars Needs Guitars. I thought I would give them a go and enjoyed it. It's definitely sort of rocking, but with some the B-movie sort of influences, not quite as overt to say the Cramps, but it's all in there. And the track little drop I'm going to do is from a song called She, which I think references either the film with Ursula Andress or the H. Rider Haggard adventure novel. Hey Ride to Hell, Low Wow Wipeout, Poison Pen, In the Wild is a really good tune. I think it was a single. So there we are. There's the lads, the Hoodoo Gurus, which I think I've reformed, or they are certainly still recording. And I think I'm going to check out their Stone Age Romeo's album, which is also supposed to be a good one. This is from 1985. Mars Needs Guitars. Finally, an album released last year, which I've been enjoying lately, by a band who are sort of lazily compared to Broadcast and Stereolab. I think they have a harder edge to them and maybe a rougher sound to them. Some sort of Kevin Ayers-y type slightly proggy influences as well. This is the band the Soundcarriers. I think this is about their 3rd or 4th album on their own, I think, Phosphonic label. Yeah, mixture of influences, sort of soundtracky influences, 60s influences. This is the album Other Reflections, or Through Other Reflections. It's on wacky coloured vinyl, which I wouldn't say I'm a fantastic lover of, but I'll just show you it for the sake of it. I'll do a needle drop from this. There's a melancholy tinge to their music, which is rather nice, a very sort of British suburban feel. So that's the Soundcarriers to finish this video. Be coming back soon. I'm going to do a video on the new Mersey sound. I've just been reading 2 books recently. I'm still reading one of them, Will Sargent of Echo and the Bunnyman's Bunnyman book, and also Paul Simpson's Revolutionary Spirit, all about the late 70s, early 80s Liverpool music scene, Tear Up Explodes, etc. So I'm going to do a video on that, about the books, and also do some needle drops as well. So that'll be in the next video. Hope everyone is well, and I will see you soon. Goodbye for now.
I didn't